Have you ever met someone who seems calm, quiet, and completely in control, yet you can't shake the feeling that they've been through something most people couldn't handle? Here's the strange part. The people who survive the hardest battles rarely talk about them. They don't wear their pain on their sleeves. They don't constantly tell their story. Instead, the evidence shows up in small behaviors that most people overlook. Psychologists have noticed that difficult experiences often leave invisible fingerprints on a person's personality, changing how they think, trust, react, and even how they find happiness. So if these 5 signs feel familiar, you may have survived far more than the people around you realize. Let's find out. 1. You stay calm in situations that once would have destroyed your peace. One of the strongest signs you've survived difficult battles is that things no longer shake you the way they once did. Years ago, a small setback might have ruined your entire day. A disagreement could keep you awake all night. A problem could feel like the end of the world. But now, you pause, you breathe, you think before reacting. Psychologists call this emotional adaptation. When a person experiences enough hardship, the mind gradually learns how to manage pressure more effectively. This doesn't mean life became easier. It means you became stronger. People sometimes mistake your calmness for indifference. They assume you don't care. But the truth is different. You've already survived situations that taught you what truly deserves your energy and what doesn't. You've learned that not every criticism deserves a response. Not every conflict deserves your attention, and not every storm deserves your fear. Deep down, your mind remembers something powerful. I've survived worse than this before. 2. Being alone no longer scares you. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid being alone, but people who have survived emotional struggles often discover something unexpected. Solitude can be healing. Psychologists have found that difficult experiences frequently increase emotional independence. Not because someone hates people, not because they want isolation, but because they've learned that relying on others for constant validation can be painful. At some point, you stopped chasing approval. You stopped begging people to stay. You stopped exhausting yourself trying to earn someone's attention. And slowly, being alone stopped feeling like punishment. It started feeling like peace. You learned how to sit with your own thoughts, how to rebuild yourself quietly, how to become your own source of comfort. And that's a strength many people never develop because when you're comfortable with yourself, you become much harder for the world to break. 3. You read people's intentions faster than before. Have you noticed that you can often sense when something feels off? Maybe it's a change in someone's tone, a forced smile, a promise that doesn't sound genuine, a behavior that doesn't match their words. This isn't always coincidence. Psychologists often link difficult experiences to increased emotional awareness. After enough disappointment, betrayal, or emotional pain, the brain becomes more alert to warning signs. It's almost like your mind develops an internal radar. You start noticing patterns others miss. You pay attention to actions, not just words. You become harder to manipulate, harder to deceive, harder to take advantage of. Some people call it intuition, others call it experience. Either way, pain often teaches lessons that comfort never could. And one of those lessons is learning how to recognize people's true intentions before they reveal themselves completely. 4. You don't open up to everyone. Another hidden sign is that you've become careful about who gets access to the real you. On the surface, you may appear friendly, social, and approachable. You laugh, you talk, you engage with people, but there are parts of your story that almost nobody knows. Psychologists describe this as emotional guardedness. When vulnerability has led to pain in the past, the mind naturally becomes more selective about trust. You don't share everything immediately. You observe first. You listen first. You watch how people handle smaller truths before giving them bigger ones. This isn't weakness. It's protection. Because you've learned something many people discover the hard way. Not everyone deserves access to your deepest thoughts, your struggles, or your wounds. And sometimes, maturity isn't about opening up to everyone. It's about knowing who has earned the right to hear your story. 5. You value peace more than excitement. The final sign might be the most powerful. You appreciate peace in a way that many people don't. A quiet morning, a stress-free evening, a meaningful conversation, a moment where your mind finally feels safe. These things mean more to you than constant excitement. Why? Because when you've lived through chaos, peace stops being boring. It becomes priceless. Research suggests that after long periods of emotional stress, people often begin prioritizing stability and safety over temporary thrills. That's why small moments bring you genuine happiness. You understand the value of calm because you've experienced the cost of chaos. You understand the value of kindness because you've felt pain. And you understand the value of peace because you once lived without it. The truth is, surviving difficult battles doesn't always make people louder. Sometimes it makes them quieter, more thoughtful, more observant, more resilient. The strongest people aren't always the ones who look powerful from the outside. Sometimes they're the ones who quietly carry scars nobody can see. So if you recognized yourself in these signs, remember this: the battles you survived may be invisible to others, but they helped shape the strength you carry today. And that strength is far greater than you probably give yourself credit for. If this video resonated with you, let us know in the comments which sign felt the most familiar. And don't forget to subscribe for more psychology insights that help you understand yourself and the people around you.